Alright, we are live. So, today, as you can see in the top left corner, we are on experimental build. This is because 1.1 has just released, and I'm going to be trying it out. So I think, based on reading the patch notes, that a lot of the changes they've made have been significantly beneficial and are going to make what I'm doing here way easier. So let's check that out, but first let's do something mostly unrelated. We are going to unlock blueprints. Mark II blueprints specifically, because oh boy, that will be nice to have as well. Just a little bit of extra space. Alright. Mark II blueprints unlocked.
Milestone reached. The Blueprint Mark II improves upon the Mark I in every dimension, except for the
Now
metaphysical
we head over
ones.
here.
This improvement was made available due to complaints from pioneers about other pioneers not being capable of managing their space efficiently. We
All right.
listen to pioneers, always.
So we need to find a nice, convenient, flat area larger than this one, because we've sort of hemmed this in on multiple sides with belts and whatnot. So I think we're going to go over here and build out a foundation. Although we have just used up all of our concrete on unlocking it. So that's a bit awkward. I'll head back over here to pick up the concrete. I think it'll be nice to have the blueprint designers next to each other so that we can look at them and compare them. And this one's the concrete bin. So let's just grab a couple of those. That should be more than enough. Probably way more than enough. Alright, let's just fill this area out. And that'll probably be enough room. Probably. Blueprint Designer Mark II. Place. Alright, it is certainly much larger. So this is a 5x5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5 by 5, whereas this one is a 4x4. So solid, really quite substantial increase. But now you have to try out the 1.1 upgrades. So that's really the more exciting thing. So let's start off. What I want to know is, can you make basically like a completely internal to the blueprint? Well, really what I want to learn is first of all, how does the conveyor belt snapping works? That should be the first thing, right? So let's just plop down. Actually, do I have any convenient blueprints that would be useful for this? No. Alright, let's just say we have a conveyor belt there. And save this as test belt. And then we go off somewhere. And we have a conveyor belt that is just running along. And we want to set this down. It does. Okay, so how are we supposed to do this? Let's nudge it like there. So this will either work or it won't work. And I guess the way to tell that is storage container, hook that up, put something in it, and see what happens. This is the critical location where this will either work or not work. And alright, does not work. Alright. So we need to figure out how exactly to get this to work. Default auto connect is an alternate build mode. So let's get rid of that conveyor pole. Default. Oh, it is generous with that, huh? So like we can. So if it's over there, it doesn't connect, but if it's anywhere in here, it does. All right. And so if we just plop that in. All right. For some reason, it just didn't place. Very cool. Alright, you have to double click, I guess. And then it just goes along and it works. Alright. So that is very cool. But of course, that's like the absolute most basic case. So, what I want to test now is what happens with, for example, wall holes. So, oh, there's also a new, hang on. Let me, do I have, yes, I do have the screws for this. There is a new conveyor wall hole in throughput. New stuff from the Awesome Shop for me to buy, which is lovely. Alright, so we have those. Now we put the wall hole in. And the voice lines seem to not be voiced. So that's certainly experimental. But that's fine. So let's have a belt going into this wall hole from a storage container. And the storage container will have some stuff in it, I guess. And let's make these belts faster. Alright, so then save this as wall hole test. Don't spell it wrong. Save the blueprint. Clear it from the designer. Alright, so now if we go wait, no, we need, so let's have just like another wall with a hole in it. And put a conveyor wall hole right in the center. And then have that belt go there. Now, when I place in wall hole test on auto connect, it does. So let me just place that. Oh, you have to double click. So even if you put them really close, like that, dang it, I keep not double clicking. Alright, so we have that. let's nudge it into a reasonable location. Now what happens if we have them... So if we have them like this... Why is it not placing? You have to be looking at it to place it, I guess. Alright. A little bit weird, but whatever. Alright, so if we do it like that, that works. Now if we take that apart, what I really want to know is what happens if they outright overlap. So, like, they're connected like that. What happens if I do that? Doesn't work. Okay. That's fine. Obviously, it would be very convenient if it had, but... Alright, let's actually test if that same problem happens with just regular old conveyor belts. So if we go test belt, yeah, so there does have to be, like here they're not connected. There has to be a bit of a gap for them to connect properly. Alright, so that is fine. Now, the next test is let's set up a conveyor lift. Now let's try to combine some things. So we have the splitter. We have a splitter like that, and it leads down into a conveyor lift. So let's call this conveyor lift test. And what I want is place a big old splitter, put a thing on it, get rid of the bottom half, and have this in. Will it auto-connect vertically as well? And it's hard to tell how lined up they are. They look lined up there. But they aren't quite. Alright, let's see if we can get them lined up perfectly. So we have that one exactly over that dot. Goes up there and gets split. And then we have the conveyor lift test, which should be around there. And if we were to extend that, it doesn't like it. Alright. I guess an initial test just in general would be... Let's place a big old conveyor lift. Let's put 2 splitters on it. Take that out and see if it snaps in properly, and it seems like it doesn't. Okay, that is extremely disappointing. So because of that, that means we aren't going to be able to chain these super easily. Like, it's gonna be it's going to be difficult to do some things like that. Alright, but let's try something else then. Because what I want to have is I want to have a blueprint where it's multiple stories tall and the connection between the stories is completely internal. So, let's say I have... Now I think I'm going to need to do it something like this. So let's just say this is the floor of a thing that I'm working on. Now, I can... What if under here... What if I have a floor hole in this? And this is going to have to be elevated slightly for the floor hole to fit. But then I have something like this, right? And then this is in the middle of the second from the right. So I actually have to make sure that this is facing the right way. So this is going to be the input for the blueprint. And then it goes up and out and does some things in a factory. And then we are gonna go up another little bit. So then this will be, like, theoretically this would be right at the top of the blueprint. We're obviously just doing it here to save space, but then we have that. We have another floor hole. How about there? And then this feeds into that. And then this comes back over here, and we need it to connect into this. So if we have this go like there. Then theoretically I might be able to stack a couple of these on top of each other. Let's fill this out a little bit so that it is consistent sized from floor to floor at least. So we can call this Blueprint Auto Stacking Test. So we can save that and clear it. And then find a nice empty space like over here, I guess, would be a good spot for it. We're going to need some room for this. That should be plenty. Now we put these in. And we stack a second one on top of the first. Blueprint Auto Connect mode. Okay, so that is being grumpy about it because it doesn't want to start on this level. So how do I fix that? Okay, what if I just vertical nudge this? Because that's also a thing. No, doesn't seem to work. Alright, what if we set this to default auto connect? Okay, maybe it's not working because it's the input is just a vertical conveyor lift instead of a regular old conveyor. So let's load this up and put in like a tiny little conveyor belt going into it. And we overwrite that. Now we go blueprint auto stacking. Oh, it works? Does blueprint auto connect mode work? If we vertical... Oh, we have to hold and vertical nudge. And it does? Alright, that's... technically doesn't line up quite properly. How do I fix that? And also, I would like to be able to do it like this. Just the pure regular default where the blueprint auto snap goes to. But, like, this is great. I love this. And just to confirm, there is a audio indicator. There's that tiny little snap sound when it connects, which doesn't happen when you do anything else. Hello? You have typed the letter L. I'm sure that's not what you meant, but hello. Welcome to the stream. Alright, so how do we make... How do we make this not... So this is the default. This is where it wants to be. Alright, so we have at least something. We have, like, a thing which can use a tiny bit of space on the top and or bottom to auto-connect through. So that's cool. Now I want to try to make this work more cleanly. So the problem is, ooh, do floor holes auto-connect? That would actually be a much easier thing if they did. So let's get
Boring.
a wall. What? Did Ada just call me boring? Did I just imagine that? Or... Alright, so we have a floor hole. And let's have some belt traveling through the floor hole just so that we can, and directly into a floor hole above it. So let's say we have something like this. What I would want to see is for this floor hole, is for the floor holes to auto-connect if I try to stack them. Floor hole auto-connect test. Save that, clear it. Get rid of that as well. Floor hole auto-connect test. Alright, that seems like it doesn't work. Hello, yes, it is indeed the April Fool's Satisfactory update, and I've been poking around for a bit, and it's not quite working as perfectly as I would like, but it is working fairly well, all things considered. I'm trying to get blueprint stacking, so the idea would be like to be able to place a bunch of blueprints and just automatically have them stack, and I have a setup that kind of works. So if I do this, and then I do this, I hold it, I page down, and I place it. Ooh, conveyor belt is too steep. Okay. Maybe it doesn't work. Have you messed with vertical splitters yet? A little bit. I have mostly been trying to get this auto stacking working. So it doesn't seem to want to actually place it. I've gotten the thing to pop up, like if I hold that and I snap it down there, yeah, it doesn't like it. All right, I feel like there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. Maybe give it more space. Yeah. All right. I have an idea. So the problem there was that the slight elevation change, because they weren't perfectly aligned, was too much. So if I go up here and I get rid of this conveyor belt, and I just have it go out to like there, and I save that, now maybe this will work. Alright, so we place one. Ooh, I heard a snap already. Does that just work? Yes, it does. Alright. Now the problem is we have this. How tall is this gap? Slightly more than a wall. They're just barely not quite aligned. It's literally like a millimeter away from perfect, but it's so close. It's so unbelievably close. There's gotta be... So, okay, the question is, what is causing them to be offset at all when I place them? And the answer is, it thinks that the box goes up to, it looks like the top of the pole. Alright. Wait, I have the blueprint down conveyor be closer to the ground. Yeah, maybe. Alright, let's try. So what if instead of sitting on poles, what if these are just like loose floating conveyor belts? I can't imagine why that would work, but it might. Save that blueprint. Clear the designer. Alright, so we have that. We have that. It's still wrong. So this gap is the problem. So I think that hasn't helped any. So how do I make this belt closer to the ground? So if we go down, that's this belt, and that's just how it is. Okay, maybe by messing with exactly where the conveyor belt, the lifts go, but there's got to be a way. There has to be a way to make them snap properly. Alright. So maybe... No, that probably wouldn't work. Can you nudge it down? Yes, but I don't think it's still not quite lined up properly. So let's... So that snapped there. We nudge it down 1. And it didn't work there for some reason. Alright, let's get closer. Alright, so we hold it there. We nudge it down 1. And yeah, it's still a little bit off. Maybe that's fine. Yeah, and now if we nudge it down a second, then they're overlapping, which might be okay. If we're fine with clipping, this would at least make it a solid surface, right? Yeah, then the conveyor is in the ceiling, but... Okay, please. Sometimes it's, like, weirdly finicky about placing it. But if we do this, and then in real life there would be a wall there, which doesn't look terrible from the outside. And from the inside, let's see, it doesn't really show at all. Yeah, the foundations are thick enough to conceal it. So this actually basically works. I mean, the slight issue is that now I have to nudge it down twice every time I place a blueprint, which yeah, it's so close to being beautiful. Like, I would love to have it be a single place. Alright, maybe... I'm trying to think of how to get this to work. Okay, maybe actually... I don't know why this would work, but... Maybe if we put... Okay. If we put a wall there... I can't imagine this will work. It seems like the kind of thing that would make it worse, not better, but gotta try it. So having a wall there should, in theory, force them to line up. Maybe? So we have that in. Then we have the next one up. Alright. I think it works. It works. The gap is too wide now, but that's fine. Alright, let's... What happens if... Yeah, so now it lines up perfectly on a single snap. Now, the question is, like, when I'm ultimately doing this, I'm going to want this entire thing... Like, theoretically, this would be an enclosed box, right? So if I did that, and took that out. Does that work? Save that. Get rid of those. Get rid of that random extra wall that I placed. Now, does it still work? Okay. I should be fine to have both the top and bottom floors be completely walled in the blueprint. So if I do this and realize that I've trapped myself, hang on, let me get out. So if I have it like that, and I save it, and then I tear that out, and I put that in, then it's... Wait, what? What is this? Oh, this is just a random unrelated floor. So yeah, this completely boxed in portion is the connection, and it is fine. And if I get in there via this door, it is connected. Alright, we have done it. We've created a setup for an internal connection so that these blueprints can now theoretically be actual full blueprints with stuff in them, and just the top and bottom floors. Actually, I wonder, can I make this even smaller? So now that we have a working system, let's try to get greedy. What if this is really tiny? Alright. You won't be able to put it in the blueprint designer like that. Alright, well, worth a shot. So yeah, this wastes, what, 8 meters total? 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top. Which isn't that awful now that I have, like, I've had space to spare even on the Mark 1 Blueprint Designer. Now that I have the Mark 2 Blueprint Designer, that should be fine. Okay, now the other thing... So that is hugely convenient, and actually I think I'm just going to make a proper setup. So I'm basically going to make a new box frame that I use for everything now. So yeah, if we have that, then this is basically the ground floor. And we put the ceiling in. Now, how many outputs do we want to do with this? Probably, I mean, we're never going to have more than like 4 inputs, right? So let's go 1, 2, I guess we could do 5. So potentially 4 inputs and an output. I don't like... I should just compress these all into one corner, just so that they don't take up the entire front wall. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 inputs and theoretically 1 output. And they need to have their belts going out. Why are you like this? Alright, if I have it like that, and then I nudge it into the straight location, then that will work. Alright, so we have this, which takes the inputs. And I guess I should also consider how to get resources into here in the first place, which I could just do with... Nah, mergers are going to be a bit much. So this can just be like an internal thing and just have regular old wall holes and stuff for the initial inputs. Alright, so we have that. Then we have this. And then these would just go into the factory and do various things. And then we just need to make our floors, which I believe are like 3 tall. Alright, so we make a floor which is 3 walls tall. Then we put the next floor in. And we make a wall out of this. Please let me out. Then we go up here and yes, we will have enough room to do all of this in the blueprint. So that's good to see. Horizontal around the edges. Around the edges. Second floor. Why was that letting me go out past the blueprint designer? That seems wrong. Alright, so then this would be the second floor where the inputs are normally. So I guess let's put some of those in. And we have proper wall holes for now, but that's fine. And it also needs a door. And then we have the top floor. Alright. So we have all that in. And then we have up here, somewhere like back here, and they need to be lined up with the ones all the way down on the bottom floor. So we're going to have to figure out how to make that work, but it's something like this. And alright, for the lineup, does the fourth one go directly on that line? No, this actually has more of a gap, so okay, the third one goes directly on that line. Alright, let's fly up there. Alright, so this one isn't here. It's there instead. And these would all be outputs. Except this one is reversed because it is going down to the bottom floor of the factory. And now we have their belts coming out and stop doing weird stuff. And hopefully this will work. Now, I wonder if we actually want to move these all the way back there, because there's more likely to be room way at the back than up here in the middle. But for now, let's put these walls in and see if this stacks. Because I actually, come to think of it, haven't actually officially tried the, what's it called, having multiple things snap in like next to each other. Auto connecting box shell. We'll save that, clear the designer, and now we get to see if it works. Alright, we put one in. Actually, alright, I hear the little click. Put that one in. And now we fly all the way up here. Brake, fly a little bit higher up. Please let me in. Alright, we're looking for a door. I think it's on this side. Yes. And look at that. It works. It works perfectly. And now, as long as... Let's go down a floor. So I think down here we have these holes, and as long as we connect our inputs through to that hole and our outputs out of that hole, then this can just work, and we can use like our first floor's inputs and outputs to get them there, and then that'll be that. Alright, that is awesome. Now, the next thing to do is the ones we currently have, we can probably make a lot neater with the vertical mergers and splitters. So let's just go up and see about that. Yes, it is possibly Crystal Oscillator Day, frankly, depending on how much time we spend messing around with these new upgrades, but we got that blueprint design pretty quickly, so hopefully it should be... Alright. So this... Let's see, where do we want to actually go? Because we did like a weird wrapping around the edges thing for that. So one thing we need is rubber, because our computer factory currently isn't actually getting enough rubber. So which one of those is that? No, you're a petroleum coke. Which means this one is rubber. No, this is... Huh? Is that a visual bug? Am I going crazy, or are those... Is that rubber belt going up? That rubber belt is definitely going up. Alright, well, it seems to be working, so we're just going to ignore that, but definitely a bit of a visual bug. We are on the experimental build, so not too surprising, I guess. Alright, so if we want to expand... yeah. Just a visual bug, but it's kind of funny. So if we want to double our rubber output, then... where do the lines go? Like that. So if we put that in... oh, fallen. Now we take that out and we send this all the way up to above where we're going. And then we can put, gosh, I hope this works. We put a conveyor splitter there. Wait, hang on. What? Oh, that was just the wrong hole. Okay. Nothing uses that hole, I guess. So I have to move this. So we get rid of that. We get rid of that, I guess. And we need a conveyor splitter that lines up perfectly with that. Alright, what if we do something like that? Just have that go all the way up there. And then this is the rubber output. So let's do a merger. Now, I've got to get up there so I can see. So if I just... wait, this is going the wrong way as well. Alright, I'm doing all sorts of things incorrectly. So this... what if this goes down? Okay, maybe it'll be easier to have a merger first. Doesn't quite... mergers don't snap there. So, let's see, if we do... let's say we just have, like, the output down there. And then we put a merger in just for fun to disconnect those. Then we can have this go all the way up there. And then we can have this merger go there. And does that allow it to hook up? No, it's going to be too close in. And it's definitely not convenient to do it from outside either. Alright, so let's try and think of how we can set this up better. So if we have... okay, what if we just have, like, a merger over here? What if we just have it, like, over here? And then we have our conveyor lift going up to the stratosphere. Then that can snap in there. And then this and any future ones can snap in there. And I've done this backwards, haven't I? Alright, and I've already tested the snapping, and it's kind of Alright, so wait, actually I think that might have been right to begin with. So then this belt goes off to snap into that, which is clipping, but this is all just testing at this point anyway, so I'm going to redo it more nicely later. So then we have a merger like there, and then that would go into that. And if that had any outputs, they would go down that merger into there. Alright, so that is basically working. And I already have an idea of making this even nicer. So let's take that out as well. And if we have just two mergers that are maybe something like that, then this can come down there and into that merger. This can come down there and into that merger. And then they can go out to whichever ones they're supposed to go out to, which I've lost track of. But then these can have conveyor lifts going up, like as far as they need to go. And then they get their mergers. And we want those to be facing the other way, right? So it's kind of hard to see what's going on, but so this first one is actually the far right one. So then that goes into there. That would come down a ways and into there. And now, every time we want to set up a new thing, we would just extend this up. So that is reasonably convenient. I just have to figure out, is this one's the rubber one, right? Hang on. Oh god, they're both empty. That's concerning. I'm pretty sure this one was the rubber one. And if that's wrong, then oh no. Alright, well, connecting those up might potentially break everything if I've connected them up to the wrong things. But I don't think I have. Alright, and then the next step would be to do a similar thing over here for this, except with splitters, right? So this splitter, I don't know, something like that. Okay, that's too close. Give a bit more distance. So that would go into there. This would go into that. And then this would go up all the way. And then on each floor we would have that. And that should do it. This is going to need to be faster to account for that. And these are probably going to have to be faster as well. I think we've upgraded this to 120 rubber a minute now. Wasn't really keeping that close attention, but it's probably something like that. So now we upgrade all of those. And we hop up here, grab the power line, find something to attach it to. And we'll see if that works. Hopefully it will. And also put these walls in because this has the old classic refinery problem, which I apparently didn't fix for this. So let's put these walls in so that this doesn't look horrible. And we only need 82 rubber a minute for our computer factory, so that should be fine. Now, is this actually working? Yes, it is. We have outputs, and they seem to be being placed into the correct belts. And these belts are only a little bit bugged. Alright, so that is that set up. So yeah, the old versions are now easier to stack, and we also won't really have to do this much anymore because the new versions are just better. Alright, so we have that. What was the next step? So, right, the next thing is, now that we have Mark II blueprints, I want to obviously change the size of the factory to accommodate that, and hopefully that'll also mean making my truck stops easier. So if we load the truck stop in, where is the truck stop? Down there. Ah, alright, cool. Didn't know you couldn't do that. Well, in that case, we will just try to rebuild a new one. But we have more space now. So, if we just like let's see, what would be a reasonable place to put this? Something like that, maybe. So then we have this space for all the logistical stuff. And if we want this, then this would have no space for logistics, but that's fine. This doesn't need as much. So we can scoot these in. Where's the... I had to scroll up a little bit for some reason. Alright, so how much space do we realistically need? It's pretty much just we need enough space for 1 or 2 floor holes, so something like this should just be more than enough. Let's line it up on that line just for neatness. And then the other one facing the other way. Where is it lined up to? It's lined up like that. And it also has a good amount of space. Now, the main advantage of this, obviously it's still 2 truck stops. However, the main advantage is now the truck stops are internal to the blueprint. So something that was constantly happening with my old truck stops was I would be driving along a road just next to the truck stops, and I would get a little too close, and then the automated path making would think, oh, you mean to stop at this truck stop, right? And no, I didn't. But now I have to go back and fix that every time. But here, with these facing inside, that won't be a problem. And let's just get a power pole Mark II. That's another thing. The old one uses power pole Mark 1s for some reason, and it makes it very annoying to hook anything up to the power setup. Now we have this. And I might even set up... Nah, I won't. This is fine. So we're going to call this truck stop V2. And save that. Alright, so we have that. We have... Alright, so the next thing we need to do is plan out, so our new section of the city, the old section of the city was often suffering from, like, vehicles running into each other. Also, April Fool's Day. Thank you for the giant head. Can't tell if the head is giant or the body is small. But, so, we're constantly running into things where... I'll get over to the canister return, which is, like, the main culprit. Like, there's all sorts of vehicles crammed in, and sometimes there would even be situations where deadlocks happen, where two vehicles are trying to go opposite directions, and they would, like, get stuck just staring at each other. And that is not good. So, I want to solve that in the new section of the city, and I think the way I'm going to do that is basically by making one-way roads. So let's head off this way for a bit. So if we make this road go further along. Now, let's just keep expanding this. Now, currently I have... Actually, I need to get, like, an intersection or two in. Alright, well, this is just going to be for the purposes of experimentation. Obviously, not final. But let's say this is where we have an intersection. We're going to have to remove this soon. So... Currently, the problem is, if a vehicle wants to turn left at this intersection, and another vehicle coming this way wants to turn right, then they can get stuck, where, like, they're both waiting on each other to move past. Now, I think I've gotten actually... Where are those barriers? Yeah, so if I put, like, a bunch of barriers down the middle of the road, so this will basically enforce the lanes, and I just cleared it for some reason, despite the fact that I need to put another one. So this enforces the lanes, and we have one too many, or two too many even there. Alright. So we have this now, which means you can't get into the wrong lane. Now, what was I thinking? So theoretically now, turning left... Okay, if we have this in there. Now let's think. Turning left goes around here. This one turning right would never intersect that. But this one turning left could get stuck with someone going straight through, but I think just doing this might make it better. Now, the other thing is I might want to end up using trucks at some point. And trucks can barely fit in these lanes. Now let's give them some fuel so I can drive it about to check. Now if I want to make this turn, it's barely possible. And I have to do a quick 3-point turn here. Obviously never going to do this properly, but now what if the tighter right-hand turn is also possible? Alright, so that's a good sign. Now the next thing we need is... oh, we actually need a new floor tile blueprint. That's something I didn't think to set up. So I need to get here because now it's 5x5 as opposed to 4x4. So we get down here, set up a floor tile blueprint. So let's put this in. I don't know why it's being weird in terms of not snapping easily. But we just fill this in. Alright, very simple. Call this a floor tile V2. Save that, clear the designer, and head back up to where we were working. Boy, we have a bot. That's fun. Also, I think, like, today specifically, when I have gone to do something in a different tab, the audio from Satisfactory has stopped. I don't think that happened previously. I've just noticed that today, but it might have been happening previously and I just didn't know, but... Alright, so let's get over here to this area. And let's put in a floor tile V2. Which is going to be like there. And we stick a truck stop V2 on top of it. So, how much space would a theoretical truck need to use this? So let's say that this is in the middle of a giant busy factory. And there is a wall here. Oh, I've messed that up, but... So let's take that out. And we need to dismantle this wall now, because now it's in the way of me placing the tile. Alright, so this needs to be something like that. No, I've done the same thing again. I don't know how I did the same thing twice. So this is supposed to snap there. Alright, now let's say that there's just a giant wall here. Can a truck go through this, stop, and make it out? If a truck can, then everything else can as well. So let's pop a truck down and give it some fuel. So we go straight through the intersection. We turn here. We load or unload. Turn out. And you can't quite get to the right lane of the intersection. Maybe if I focus more I can get in. Like, I might just not have been curving sharply enough. Alright, it is possible. It is possible, and as long as you know that it's a bit of a steep turn, it's not that bad. So that should enable this whole thing to be truck friendly, which is great. And then, all right, I guess we could make blueprints for the roads now that they're a bit more complicated. So let's do that. Let's make an intersection blueprint and a road blueprint. All right, so we get down here, and this needs to line up properly to the grid, so it's the center 3 in like a cross shape for the intersections. And they need to line up properly as well. Alright, so that's an intersection there. And now we just need to put in the various barriers. So let's actually make a hotbar for this. Sure. Alright. So then this barrier would go just up here, up to the center of the intersection. Barriers are obviously a bit short, but that's because this is an intersection and you can't have barriers run through the center of an intersection or else everything will break. Alright, so we have that. And then we also have patterns. So we can put, alright, I need to put them like off to the side. Alright, is there any way to get the arrows, maybe if I, no, they seem to be centered on the thing. Alright, so we have that arrow there. We have that arrow there. Alright. So then we have that and that. Alright. Now we need a corner barrier there. So now everything is neat and tidy. Are there any other fun little customization things we can add to this? none of these really seem necessary. Alright, let's call this an intersection. Road intersection. And save it and clear it. Now let's, I guess, make just a regular road blueprint, which will be obviously much more simple. So it's just a 3 thick line. And it's got barriers down the middle all the way. And I guess we can put arrows on it. I'll have to make sure not to mess up and place this down facing the wrong way, but let's say that this is the front. So we can have these arrows and those arrows. Alright, so this should be a road. Alright, now let's see if we can use these to build up a new section of the city, which we're probably going to have a bit of a gap from the old section of the city, just because like all the sizes are different and everything. I'm not sure though. So the old section of the city, we're pretty much just going to leave it like this, as pandemonium and chaos. Now this section of the city, we obviously can't have it like that because it doesn't line up properly. So I think what we do is we just take this bit down and say this is like where the grid of the new city starts, and this is like the bridge to it. Alright. If I'm careful, I can mass dismantle and get rid of most of that without breaking anything. Alright, so we get rid of all that. Now we have basically a three-way intersection. Now let's actually use this for something. So, high-speed connectors. What do those need? Quick wire, which is basically Caterium, cables, and circuit boards. Alright, let's try to make this area into an actual factory, and we'll make it a high-speed connectors factory just because that's something, I guess. So we're going to need to make some blueprints for that, so down we go. Alright. So we get down here. And now we load up our auto-connecting box shell, which actually I think we need to... Okay, well, I didn't mean to do that, but whatever. So I need to do some organization. So, alright, go into Edit, move this down into Utility. Can I get rid of some of these? Yeah, so I don't need all of these test blueprints. They're just filling up space with being useless. So there we go, they're gone. And while we're at it, I should move the road and road intersection and truck stop utilities. So floor tile V2 down to utilities. And truck stop V2 down to utilities. And apply changes. Alright, that's just very primitive organization. Alright, so this is a nothing floor. The proper entrance to the main factory is... Wait, no, this is the nothing floor. So this is where the main factory starts. And up here is where the inputs come in. So high-speed connectors need deuterium ingots for that. Iron for cable. We could use copper, but we have iron ingots already set up. And then circuit boards are... I'm not going to put refineries in this thing. Circuit boards will be rubber and petroleum coke. So we need, what, 4 inputs? Deuterium, iron, rubber, petroleum coke. That actually works out perfectly because that's basically what I want to test. So hang on. Wait. I just realized something about this. So in order for this to work as multiple floors, we need to merge the inputs from the real entrance and from the main entrance and the secondary entrance. So let's think, how are we going to do that? So we take these... Yeah, doing it this way is going to make it marginally more complicated. But it should still be fine, though. We have these. And I wonder if we could do it like... How did all of those line up nicely, but this one's not going to? Excuse me? Alright. That's not going to work. We might need to rethink this box shell slightly. If nothing else, do some of this hooking up work in advance, maybe would be helpful. So we need to bring in our actual inputs from here down into floor holes. That's the next step we need to do. And we don't need 5, we need deuterium, copper, rubber, petroleum, and 1 output, so... Alright, so let's have that. And attach all of these up. Alright. So now we have that. And now we get into here. And... wait. Maybe... okay, I have a better idea. And it's going to involve changing this up. But that's fine because this idea is genius and I am incredible for coming up with it. So we can use vertical splitters to make this work quite nicely, actually. So we need to take all of this out and redo it on the next floor. Redo some of this, and we're going to be saving this into the box shell. Alright, so we take these lifts out and put more floor holes directly above them, and then we can use vertical splitters to get off of these vertical lifts, which are just going to go straight through the factory. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so we just go like that. 3. I don't think that worked properly. 4, 5. Okay. Now we go up here. And we put in basic
Stop
walls.
wasting time.
Wow, Ada is just mean, apparently. Jeez. Alright. So now, this goes a little further up, like that. And then... no, actually these would go all the way up to the ceiling, but not quite through it. And then belt along the ceiling to the final destination. Two, 3, 4, and 5. And then we put these in. And then these belts run along there. And now we put in mergers on this floor. Are these too close for that? Alright, no. We just have to finesse them a little, looks like. Alright. Well, I guess they're gonna be I guess they're gonna be like that, but that's fine. Then we can put in wall holes, overlap the blueprint designer as well. Oh my god, you've got to be joking. You've got to be kidding me. Okay. We can fix this. It's just going to involve making this whole thing a little bit more spread out. Alright. So let's take those out. We're going to have to use the old conveyor walls. And we have it like that. So now this is unfortunately going to take up like the entire front of the blueprint, but hopefully that'll be fine. So we have floor hole, floor hole, floor hole, floor hole, floor hole, and then I guess this can manage 6 things, which hopefully it'll never have to do, but it can if it needs to, I guess. So then these go pretty much all the way up to the ceiling. And the merger, this isn't going to work, is it? Oh, it is going to work. Oh, that's brilliant. All right. So that is a merger. So it'll take... What is that? Why are you like this? Did I mess that up, or is it just a problem? And this is really not happy with me. Alright, but we got it in. Alright, so that is a merger. So it takes some of the stuff from that belt and puts it on there where it keeps going up. Wait, but does it need to be a splitter? Hang on. Because we need some... We need to have some to have access here. So what we need is... We actually kind of... We need 2 inputs and... Wait. Let me think. So the problem here is I need these 2 inputs to merge up so that they are on the same belt, so that we can use things whether it's coming in from the outside or from a lower level. Now then the problem would be that this wouldn't have access to this floor. Okay. But what if I also put a splitter on it? Does that even line up? There's no way that lines up, right? Alright. I need to fit... Oh, this is shorter than the other ones. Don't know why, but... Maybe that'll help? Maybe we can squeeze a splitter onto this? This... Okay, maybe I can nudge the merger down some. Also, when you take the merger off of these, it freaks out. So that is something to keep in mind as well, I guess. Alright, so we need to get this like that. Please. Alright, so we have the merger, which means that we have this. Now, so we have both the inputs and the outputs onto the lift. Next, what we need to do is get some of them off of the lift while some of them stay on. So that we use some of them in this blueprint and then some of them move on to the next one. So what if, I mean, this is going to run along to some extent over to there. I need another output. And I can't... Is it at all physically possible to fit a splitter onto these belts? No. Apparently not. If I had a little bit more space, then maybe I could. So maybe if I have another unused tile on the roof, right? Like I haven't gone all the way up to the blueprint limit. Yes? Alright. So if I move this up one, I'll have more space on that floor and maybe I can get it to work. Let's take all of this out. And we're not going to rebuild it immediately because we're still working on where everything has to go exactly. So let's take all of these out. And we build this floor in. And we hop up to be on top of it. Alright, so we have that. Now we need to find the entrance, which is here. Alright. So let's see if that extra space, so now we can take that out and have this floor be a little bit higher. So if that goes all the way up there, then surely there'll be enough room for a merger and a splitter on the same thing. Yes. Alright. That is excellent. This whole setup is getting quite convoluted, but hopefully once I have this set up, I won't have to constantly be fiddling with it. Like, once I have it working in a practical example, then I should be able to reuse it repeatedly. Alright, so let's take this extra floor down. Alright. Now we have this. And we just have to redo that for all of these to make them taller and then fit in the splitter. And we might have to do things oppositely. Yeah, we are going to have to do things the opposite for the output one. So we'll have to keep that in mind. But it shouldn't really be a problem. You are too short. Please go all the way up. There we go. So we have that. Then this one gets a splitter there. And a merger there. Then the rest of these get mergers here. You get a merger. You get a merger. You get a merger. And you get a merger. Alright, so now you all take inputs from outside. And you need to send some of them to this floor for immediate use and some of them up to the future. So let's go back here, I guess, and start putting these in with the correct spacing. This one is not lined up properly. And one more. Alright, so then this has to do that. The rest of them have to do that. And then they just all go straight across and in. Alright, so now we have that. That's that floor done. Now we need to go upstairs and set up the top floor. So this involves a bunch of conveyor lifts. With tiny little belts sticking out. Alright, so that is that. Now we have to go down to the bottom floor and set things up here. And this, we can actually split them off down here as well, which means this actually is, in some ways at least, more convenient than... Sorry, why are they slightly off-center from the dots? That's annoying, but whatever, as long as I know about it. Alright, and now we just send these up and through. And we can put splitters in so that if we need any of the resources on this floor, we can get them. And then the last one gets a merger, so if we need to output the resource on this floor, we can do that. And then we need to head down to the bottom floor and set it up properly. And then hopefully we'll be able to actually build a blueprint using this and confirm that it works. Alright. So we have that, we have that, we have that, we have that. I feel like these two shouldn't be the same, right? This one should be outputting. What's gone wrong there? I have no way of knowing from this which way it's going. So let's take that lift out. Yeah, this wants to take inputs from below, but it's the last one, so it has to do the opposite. I could have sworn this was correct. Alright, let's get up there and see. So this has a belt attached to it, and that belt is going this way. So yeah, inputs are going in there, and then going down through it. And they are... Alright, somehow something has gone wrong here. What if I just take that tiny little lift out? Alright. Visually it hasn't... Visually that's a bug, but I think it might have worked though. We're definitely going to have to run a test of this and see what happens. Alright, so then this goes down. Get rid of that lift. Puts its outputs there. And it gets a merger there. And then we go to the bottom floor, and hopefully that should be everything working. No? Alright. I have relatively low confidence that this is working properly. But we're going to set it all up and probably just feed them from a, what's it called, from boxes, and see what happens. Alright, so we have our potentially 5 inputs and 1 output. And then they go all the way up. Yeah, I mean, this definitely looks messed up. It looks messed up, but I think it'll actually work. I actually think that this is functional. So now we come up here. We have these. And now we put the walls in. And for some mysterious reason, it doesn't quite line up to the very top of the blueprint machine, but that's probably nothing to worry about. So let's resave that. And clear it. Grab our resources. And now let's do a proper test. So we can put one in. And a apparently we do not have the iron plates for this. Apparently it requires more iron plates than we have in the dimensional storage, which is inconvenient, to say the least. So let's hop over here and grab some. Which one of you is iron plates? This one. That's because of all of the belts, obviously. Alright, so we have that in. And wait. This is too tall for this area, isn't it? Alright. So that doesn't dismantle fully correctly, so that's fun. You love to see that. But we're going to have to take this to something which isn't directly underneath the city because these guys are tall. And I think two of them stacked on top of each other would actually intersect with the city. So let's head over here and test them out. We've got some nice open air over here. We're going to need to place down a bunch of concrete. I'll grab some out of the dimensional storage preemptively. Alright. This should be enough space. I think this is 6 wide. Yes. Alright, cool. Now, if we put this shell down like that, and then we put Blueprint Auto Connect mode, it's not giving me the sound that indicates that it's worked. So let's... Wait, no. Not there. You absolute buffoon. Alright. Blueprint Auto Connect. Put it there. See what happens. Alright, so we head up and around to this. Alright, so this is the floor beneath the floor where the auto connecting is supposed to happen. I get up here and... yeah, okay. Maybe the distance is just too far. So we're obviously going to need to fix that. But let's say that... let's take all of those out. Now let's say that hypothetically these went just a little bit further in. Because the belts have to be close-ish, otherwise they won't see each other, obviously. So if we have it like that, and now we try... Alright, it does auto-connect. Alright. That's all looking good. Now, I do want to actually just send some stuff through in boxes, so we'll start with the outputs. So if we hover up here, so we get all the way up to the top, So this is the output. So if we put a box here, and no, box has to be facing the other way, obviously. So if we put that box in, and we throw in some empty canisters, then they're going to flow down, and they should reach both the bottom level of the bottom one and the output levels of all of them. And if we head down to the bottom level and get in here, then oh boy, these are not happy with this space that they've been given. What if we nudge you down? Oh, something is going funky. Alright. I think that was just being faced the wrong way. So if we nudge you down and connect you up to that, and we throw some reanimated Sam in, then that should go all the way up to the top level. And also, if we go, let's put a quick foundation in there. Now, if we put a box here, and we feed that into another one of them, and we throw some screws in, then those should make it out to the very top as well. And if they don't, I'm going to be very sad. But hopefully this will all work. Alright, currently I am just seeing a distinct lack of whatever I threw in that one. I think it was empty canisters. I'm not seeing any empty canisters coming out of this, which is a concern. Now, they are Mark 1 belts, all of these. So that's another thing which I guess I should test, is like, how easy is it to upgrade these? Alright, I'm not seeing any empty canisters, which means they must have gotten stuck at some point. Okay, I see empty canisters there. And there, but they seem to be stuck. So let's get down to this level. And I assume we won't be seeing any empty canisters here. Nope, none. What if we deconstruct that and put it back in? Alright. That works. Which means that it was just a mild bug, but nothing too serious. So hopefully we should be able to fix that by just doing the same thing in the blueprint. So yeah, let's... Hang on, what was I doing? Is there another problem in here? trying to find problems with this setup because it'll bug me forever if I don't. So have the screws made it all the way up to the top? That is a good question to ask, or have they gotten stuck along the way? Alright, the screws have gotten stuck along the way. And then the question of that is why? So maybe this. All right, this is incredibly cursed. If we just take that out and have that be a regular lift, do any screws come through? No. Alright, so that is good. I guess that means that that wasn't the problem. Now give me a splitter on this belt. Thank you. Alright, now we have to get down. Is that a floor? Alright. So here are screws. They're going up this one. The third one, not the second one. So if we take that apart and put it back in, then screws go up. And now if we put a splitter on, it's fine unless that broke it. Did they reach the very top at that exact moment? Or are there further problems? Alright, they're going up through there. Let's break another hole in the wall. They're nowhere to be found here. Alright. So if I have this go up, then screws will come through. No, apparently not. Alright, so if screws aren't going up through that, then what is the problem? So we have the screws there, and the third in. This is the third in, and we've just rebuilt it. And still no screws. Alright, what if we rebuild that portion of it? Please go through. Alright, and they go through. Now, the problem here is that I have no idea why these fixes are working, which means I can't necessarily replicate them, and they might just not work in blueprints. Like, that genuinely might be the issue. And if that is the issue, it'll be completely devastating, because that would ruin this entire thing. Alright. Now, But we have managed to get screws all the way up through. So that's progress. Now we have to try to get canisters all the way down. So the canisters aren't coming out through there, but are in here. So if we take that merger out, put the lift back in, then the canisters will go through, and we can put the merger back. And now it'll work, hopefully. Yes, alright, cool. Alright. So, I'm not entirely sure what the problem is, but hopefully it'll be solved by... Hopefully it's not a problem where Blueprints placed them wrong. That would really suck if that were the problem. If that isn't the problem, then I should be able to go back and fix this by basically just redoing everything. Alright, let's load that up. And I think the way to do this, where is the entrances? I think the way to do this is we're going to have the entire line go all the way up through all of them. And then place the mergers and splitters in after the fact. And hopefully that will resolve the problems. So we get up here, take all of these out. Yeah, we're seeing all sorts of weirdness with these. Alright, so that's going to be like my main feedback from this, is that removing them and like it doesn't quite work properly. Obviously this is experimental, so it's not necessarily surprising that it is not 100% polished, but they really need to implement this more elegantly, because as it is somewhat frustrating to use. So let's take all of these down. So that outputs up to there, this outputs up to there, this outputs up to there. So all of those go up. That one comes down. And we connect all of the belts up. And then we go down to the next floor, make sure that everything is set up down there as well. Almost there. And just confirm there's nothing especially fancy going on in this bottom level. No, nothing there. Alright. Then we can start putting the splitters in. Alright, so this one is the output, so it gets a merger, just in case this is where the output comes from. And then these ones all get splitters. Alright, then we go up to the next floor. And this is the complicated one, so these all get mergers first. This one gets a splitter first. And then all of these get splitters here as well. And then this one, I guess, can get a merger here as well. It's not going to break anything if nothing else does. And then we can save this and test it and see if it works. All right. Please work. If these just simply don't work off of the Blueprint Designer, that'll be a huge bummer. Alright, so we head back over here to the test area. We clear up some of the random junk in it. We don't need all of these. We don't need those. Oh, I forgot to add the additional... Yeah, okay. I forgot to extend the belts ever so slightly, so... But that's an easy problem to fix. Alright, so let's get rid of all of that. And we get rid of that. Alright, please work. Alright, that's one in. They're not gonna properly auto-connect on the first try, because I didn't fix that bug, because there's 20 billion other bugs that I had to fix and I forgot about it. So let's get up there. And just, for now, manually connect these. Alright, the manual connections have been put in. Now we need to get up to the very top and put a box to connect up to there. Alright, so storage container in. Belt attached. 100 empty canisters in. And please work. I will be very, very happy if this works, and very, very sad if this doesn't work. Wait, I forgot to hook the other sides of the splitters up, but that's probably fine. Let's get a ladder up so that we can go up and down easily, without having to stop at like every single door along the way. And it's still running. At this point, if there were a problem, it would have stopped. At least I think that's the case. Okay, now let's also go down here and try the inverse. Have to have this be facing the right way, of course. Storage container in. Hook it up to something. Throw in something. We have canisters. Alright. That's huge. Now let's head back over to the blueprint designer so that we can fix the two relatively minor problems. And I say relatively minor, but like anything tangentially related to the vertical mergers could potentially break it. So let's load the auto-connecting box shell. Alright, so the first step is, I think extending the top one out a bit would be better. Alright. I guess we can fix these in either order. So let's get up here. And attach all of these up to the outputs / inputs. Alright, so that's the outputs and inputs attached. And now we need to get up to the top to fix the connection. So we have these go out just a little bit further. Should work. Ooh, there's... Definitely feels like I'm getting some frame rate problems when I place things now, which is a little bit worrying. Yeah, I hope that frame rate isn't a huge problem. Alright, so we save that, clear it, take the resources. Now we head back over here. We should be able to verify that the reanimated SAM made it all the way up to the top. Then we'll clear it out, test it one more time thoroughly with our new updated blueprint. So let's just get up to the top and make sure the reanimated SAM made it through first. And it did. That's wonderful. Alright. Let's delete those. And then delete all the random extra floating stuff. Alright, you all get out of here. You all get out of here. And I don't even know what these are or how they keep showing up. Like, I could sworn I deleted those already. Alright, we get rid of the ladder as well. Ooh, we left a dismantle crate. That's a bad sign. Let's get a couple stacks of junk out, so we have space for whatever that is. Alright. It's even more junk than I expected, so let's get rid of some extra plates. Alright. Now, we need to fill in that hole in the floor. Auto-connecting box shell. One placed. Alright, I heard the click. They're both placed in. Alright, so now we have to take some of this. Okay, that's weird. So now it seems like it doesn't consider steepness until after you've made the first click, which is a little weird, but alright, so now we have those down. We can put in storage containers to fill them. And we need one more storage container. A little bit more space here. Alright. And then this is an output. Alright, so let's put a different item in each of these. So that's canisters, that's water. This is reanimated SAM. This is screws. And this last one is concrete. And if the blueprint works, those should make their way all the way up to the top. And then we will ladder up to the top and put a box up there. And again, if the blueprint works, that should make it all the way down to the bottom. Alright, so up we go. And don't need industrial storage container. That goes there, and then this can be iron plates. And now we just have to hope. If these make it through, then everything will be working. Because there's no way to get up here without going through the entire blueprint, including the exchange section. And they are still flowing, which is a very good sign. All right. Please show up. Please show up. All right, I see canisters and water. There's going to be a bit of a delay. Reanimated SAM. Screws. And, wait for it. Wait for it. Concrete. Alright. And then there'll be a bit more of a delay, and then the iron will make it down. Okay, so basically the thing we need to do now is just upgrade these to max speed belts. So currently I'm using all Mark 1 belts just because it's the first thing I clicked on when doing testing, but in order for this to actually send enough resources through, they're going to need to be max speed belts. Yep, I see iron ingots coming out the other side, and they're going to be split between coming out that exit point and going out the all the way to the bottom. So basically, whenever we do this, we are technically going to be wasting the first couple of resources we output, because they're just going to go to the basement and get stuck there. But it shouldn't really be that many even. Like, it would just be a couple that get wasted that way. Alright. So that's mission success. Now the question is, and this is going to be the big question, is how easy is it to upgrade these things without breaking everything? So let's hop down here and say that the concrete actually takes more than this. So let's throw more concrete in there just to make sure it's not going to run out. Who am I kidding? Got another 266. So let's say, yeah, let's say that we upgrade these to Mark II belts. And then we get in here. And we do all that. And we just very casually, without all that much thought, go through and upgrade all of these. So now that's all Mark II. Now we have to go up to the next version of the first floor and upgrade all of them. And then we have to get up to the next version of the second floor and upgrade all of them. And then finally we go all the way up to the top floor. And we upgrade you. And you and you. And then we just put a storage container in so this will flow steadily. And it seems to be working. Alright, it seems like just very casually upgrading works properly. So that's a huge benefit, and I think I would like to go in and upgrade all of these belts, every single one of them, to a max speed belt, because there's no guarantee at any point of how fast it would need to go. And so it makes sense that the belts should be as fast as possible. But let's see, it's 435. Yeah, so I'll do that and then probably call it there. We have successfully demonstrated that the resources do properly go through this box shell, and we can access them on all of the various floors. So then the next step would be actually building a blueprint with it, which shouldn't be too hard. Like, even with all the space dedicated to this, we still have... Let's actually check. So yeah, obviously this area of the factory is is used, but we still have a 5x4 area with a cheeky little space there. So yeah, we still have 5x4, even by 3, so this floor is still normal sized. The floor below it is also still normal sized. And so yeah, I guess that is our new factory shell. And we just need to go over and make all the belts faster. And we'll have to upgrade that every time we get new belt speeds. And then once we have that, then the entire thing can be more or less like automatically scaled just with a single click. So let's load up this. And hop in here. Alright, let's make all of these Mark 4 belts. I don't have Mark 5 belts, right? Yep, didn't think so. Alright, there's definitely a non-zero amount of lag going on. Which I hate to see, but it is what it is, probably. I assume it's just because this is an experimental release. It's not optimized properly. Alright, so let's get all of those. And then we go up to here, where we upgrade those. And we're going to have to upgrade the input belts too, obviously. And I might have to upgrade my encased industrial beam production at some point. I might have to upgrade my encased industrial beam production because we're going to be using a lot of them for every factory, like forever now. Oh boy. The game has crashed. Alright, well, I'm gonna send the bug report and restart the game and see how much I lost. Theoretically, this shouldn't have lost me that much time, probably just a couple minutes. And so yeah, I'm not sure what caused that, but I'm sure it'll be fixed for the official release. Alright, cool, we're back. Alright, so it looks like what we lost is just me updating the belts. So that's fine. Yeah, alright, so let's just head back. Now, hopefully that was like a memory leak situation where it just is something that gets worse as you do things and not something that's just like permanently fucked up with my world now. So we're going to see if I head back and load up the blueprint and start redoing all of that, if the lag persists. And if it does, then we're in trouble. Auto-connecting box shell. in. Alright. Let's start upgrading and see if anything happens. Alright, no, it is smooth as butter now. So whatever the problem was, it seems like it is fixed on a restart. So that's fine then. So now we just run through. It's fixed on a restart, and it seems like it takes a while to build up. So probably not a major concern. Obviously it's not great that it exists, but you know, experimental, or at least what you're gonna do. Alright, so that all gets upgraded. That all gets upgraded. And we get the top line of belts. Then we upgrade the ones that run across the ceiling. And then we get these ones. And then we go up to the roof. And we upgrade these ones. And we just have to make sure that each of these get both of the sections upgraded. Alright, so that is that. Now we save it. And okay, here's something I just thought of. So it's theoretically 480 per input. But if we don't need to use every single input, city 480 per belt, 5 inputs, 1 output. So theoretically, if we have like 4 inputs and an output, we could just use 2 of the input belts and merge them together on any of the floors where it's necessary. So this should actually be able to carry a ton of capacity. We'll save that and clear the designer. Now the downside for all that capacity is 314 encased industrial beams. So we're going to need to probably quite substantially increase production of that. I don't know. We'll see how well that does, but we'll see how much I'm producing now and probably increase production. But yeah, we didn't quite get to actually making a factory, but we've got everything right up to that point. So that's nice. Where's our encased industrial beams? Actually, do we even have one? I think technically the blueprint we have for encased industrial beams is not... Yeah, I think technically this is one of the ones that isn't in the factory yet, that I've just been relying on my old production line for. Because the actual encased industrial beams we're producing on the factory are all going to the heavy modular frame production, which is not this one, but I think it's this one. So I do have, yeah, so I kind of have a blueprint making encased industrial beams, but not really. Speaking of heavy modular frames, almost filled up the box. That's good to see. And computers, what is this? Is this the computers? Starting to fill up the box at least. We have plenty. So I guess we can head back to the MAM or the hub rather, and do some unlocks there. And then we'll probably end the stream. So yeah, make it down to the hub. Railway signaling or pipeline engineering. May as well unlock everything. And pipes. And computers. Alright, let's go grab some copper sheets from right over here. And unlock railway signaling. Alright, that's that. And I think actually there was a...
Milestone reached. Train signals placed on train rails can control and improve train behavior.
Quartz.
This helps to avoid
Material
events where
resonance
multiple
screening.
trains attempt to occupy the same physical location.
So I can unlock the
For
priority
information
merger here
related
as
to
well.
earlier train events, please refer to your employee non-disclosure agreement.
So let's see. I just need to make some crystal oscillators. Which, how long do these take to manually craft? Not too long for 2 of them. So I guess we'll craft up the crystal oscillators and unlock the priority mergers. Not sure. Actually, there are some things I want to use them for, but that'll wait until next stream probably. So we have those. We have the reinforced plates. And material resonance screening. Yep. Alright, no voice lines for this. But priority mergers will be quite nice to have. I am excited for that. And we can also... We need to actually make crystal oscillators. But that'll be a job for next time. For now, thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you already haven't. I will be back tomorrow playing Satisfactory because it's technically Tuesday right now. I just did a Satisfactory stream because, you know, the new update came out and I was excited about it. But yeah, I'll be here tomorrow playing Satisfactory, and then Thursday we'll be back to regularly scheduled Magic the Gathering.